From the frozen rivers of the Ice Age to the crushing depths of the Mediterranean, 2025 has been a year that completely rewrote the history books. New discoveries have shattered our simple narrative of human civilization, proving that our ancestors were capable of complex engineering and exploration far earlier than we ever believed possible. In Tanzania, a 1.5 million-year-old engineering breakthrough reveals that Homo erectus were not just brute force predators, but sophisticated technicians who mastered material science long before modern humans appeared. Meanwhile, in the dense jungles of the Amazon, LiDAR technology has stripped away the canopy to reveal a massive garden city, rivaling the size of Roman London. We are no longer just digging for pottery shards. We are now using artificial intelligence to read books that were burned 2,000 years ago in the ruins of Herculaneum. From staring into the face of the Dragon Man, a lost human species that ruled the ice, to stepping into the mysterious Black Room of Pompeii, the past is being brought back to life with haunting clarity. In this journey, we will open sealed lead coffins, walk lost land bridges that once connected continents, and uncover the ghost lineage hidden deep within ancient DNA. Prepare yourself, because history isn't hiding, it's just waiting for us. Stay tuned as we dive into the 20 most mind-bending archaeological breakthroughs that are stunning the world right now. Tonight, let the day loosen its grip. If you're listening from a kitchen table that still smells faintly of dinner, from a quiet apartment where the city hum is soft behind the glass, or from a bedroom where the lamps are already low, you can let your shoulders drop a little, as if you're setting down a bag you've been carrying for hours. Take a slow breath in, not to achieve anything, just to notice the air arriving. And when you exhale, imagine the exhale has weight, like a warm blanket settling. In the spaces between your breaths, there is a kind of doorway, not a dramatic one, just a small, ordinary opening, like the gap of light under a closed door in a hallway. Through that doorway, we can visit a place that always feels safe to me, a museum storage room at night. Not the bright public museum with footsteps and school groups. This is the other museum, the quiet one, the back rooms, the archive. The long aisles of shelves that hold boxes, drawers, wrapped bundles and labeled envelopes. A world where history rests, not on display, but in its pajamas, undisturbed, waiting. The air here has a particular scent. Dry paper, old wood, a hint of dust that feels more like powder than dirt. Somewhere a small fan turns slowly. Somewhere else, a dehumidifier makes a gentle, steady purr, like a cat that has decided this is the best place in the building. A single lamp hangs above a work table, its light warm and low, golden, not bright. When you look into that light, tiny specks drift through it, slow as snow in a globe. Dust, yes, but also time in a way, the kind of time that doesn't rush. On the table is a ledger, beside it a pair of cotton gloves, and in the center, perfectly centered like someone cared enough to make it feel calm, there is a wooden cabinet with many narrow drawers. Each drawer has a label written in careful handwriting, a place name, a date, a small code. Nothing urgent, nothing demanding, just quiet facts. This is how I want tonight to feel, like opening one drawer at a time, looking gently, and closing it again when your mind starts to wander. No pressure to remember, no pressure to learn, only the comfort of realizing that the world has always been larger than our schedules, and that the past has always known how to wait. Before we drift deeper into tonight's gentle journey, remember to subscribe to Ancient Sleep Story. Here, you'll always find peaceful stories that soothe the heart and quiet the mind. Where are you listening from tonight? Leave a comment. Your presence adds warmth to this quiet corner of the night. And let me add something else, softly. the way you might speak to a friend who's awake in the same dark. Here, no one rests alone. Every story from the past is a soft lantern in the dark, gently lighting our way tonight. Now, back to the cabinet. The first drawer I choose is not the first alphabetically. It isn't the most famous. It's simply the one that feels ready. Its label reads, Olduvai, Layered Earth, 1.5 million years. I slide the drawer open. The sound is almost nothing. Wood on wood, a hush. Inside there is padding, foam cut to shape, and nested in the foam is a single object, pale and smooth, like a small crescent moon, a piece of bone worked by a hand that lived so long ago that the word ago starts to lose its meaning. It isn't large, it could fit in your palm, and yet, holding it with your eyes, you can feel the size of the distance it traveled to reach this room. Outside the archive, night continues, a traffic light changes, someone, somewhere, sleeps and turns over. A train moves through a far suburb. And in here, on this table, a tool sits quietly, as if it has never stopped being useful. When we think of deep human time, we often picture stone, sharp flint, heavy hand axes, the cold permanence of rock. Stone feels like the proper material for prehistory. Stone feels inevitable. But bone is different. Bone is intimate. It once belonged to a living body. It carries the memory of muscle and movement. Even after it has become an artifact, bone still seems to remember that it was part of something warm. If you were to lift it gently with the gloves on, you would notice the surface is not random. There are faint marks, subtle polish, a smoothness where something rubbed against it again and again. It is the kind of detail that asks your mind to slow down, the way your eyes slow down when you look at rain streaks on a window. This is where I want to offer you a soft question, not as homework, but as a small lantern you can hold for a moment. What feelings does the idea that our ancestors 1.5 million years ago crafted tools from bone evoke in you? Amazement, peace, or gentle curiosity? You don't have to answer right away. You can simply let the question float like a leaf on water and see what it brings up. Because the fact itself is already calming if you let it be. Imagine the scene where this bone was shaped. Not as a battle, not as survival horror, just as a day. A river somewhere in East Africa. Light moving across the ground in patches. The sound of insects, steady and warm. A small group of people, your distant relatives, though the word relative feels too small, sitting close enough to share shade. One of them holds a long bone from a large animal, not in anger, not in fear, simply with attention. They have learned something about the world the way we all learn things, by trying, by failing, by noticing. Stone breaks in predictable ways. You strike it, and the fracture travels like a practiced gesture. Bone is more stubborn. It has its own grain, its own hidden architecture. It refuses the shortcut. It asks for patience. So they do not strike it like stone. They grind, they scrape, they turn the piece in their hands and test it the way you might test the sharpness of a kitchen knife with the pad of your thumb. Careful, respectful. They are not thinking in modern words. They are not thinking, I will innovate. But their hands are thinking. Their hands are asking, what can this become? In the archive, the bone tool rests in foam, but in your mind, it can become a gentle bridge. Because there is something soothing about realizing that skill is old, that intelligence is old, that careful attention to materials, wood, fiber, bone, stone, has been part of our family for longer than we can properly imagine. Sometimes when you're tired, modern life makes you feel as if you're the first person to be overwhelmed, the first person to stare at a ceiling at midnight, the first person to carry a mind that won't stop turning. But the deeper truth is quieter. We have always been minds that turn. We have always been hands that make, and we have always been creatures who look for ways to feel safer. The bone tool is not only a clue about technology, it is a clue about tenderness, about the desire to shape the world so that the world shapes us less harshly. I set the tool back in its cradle, and I notice beside it a small paper tag, an archival note that someone wrote in pencil. It doesn't explain everything. It doesn't try to impress. It simply says worked edge, smooth wear, possible digging, possible scraping. Possible. I love that word in a storage room. Possible means the past still has room to breathe. Possible means we don't have to force an answer tonight. We can let the mystery be gentle. We can let it be a slow companion. On the cabinet, above the drawer I just opened, there is another label, slightly darker with age. The handwriting is different, as if a different librarian or a different decade wrote it. It reads, Atapuerca, a face in the dust, 1.2 to 1.4 million years. A face. The idea is so simple that it feels like a whisper, not a skull in a headline, not a shocking revelation, just a face, the curve of a cheek, the shape of a jaw, the silent evidence that someone once stood in a cave, inhaled cold air, and looked out at a landscape that would have felt endless. I don't open that drawer yet. Instead, I let my fingers rest on the cabinet's wood. If your mind wants to follow the dates, you can let it soften. Dates are only labels on drawers. What matters is the quiet continuity. Breath to breath, step to step, hand to hand. Tonight, we will travel slowly, through earth that is like a book, through landscapes that change like water, through rooms lit by oil lamps, through forests that hide cities under green. But we will do it the way this archive invites us to do it. One drawer, one image, one slow breath, and when the drawer begins to feel heavy with detail, we will close it without guilt, because you are not here to carry history. If you'd like, imagine your thoughts as small index cards fluttering down onto the table where they can rest beside the artifacts, unjudged, unhurried. You are here to be carried gently by it. So for now, let the first drawer close, listen to the soft click of wood meeting wood, and feel how, in the quiet, curiosity can be light. In a moment, we will open the next drawer, one that holds a human face from a Spanish cave. And with it, a simple question. How far can a small, brave group travel when the world is cold and the night is long? And still they keep walking, but not yet. First, inhale, then exhale, and let the cabinet wait with us, patient as the past. The second drawer slides out with the same soft reluctance as the first, as if the cabinet itself prefers to keep its secrets warm. Atapuerca, a face in the dust. Inside the drawer, the foam is darker, the label older. A thin folder rests beside the object, and tucked into a cradle is a cast, carefully made, carefully stored, of a fragment of a face. Not a whole face, not a dramatic mask, just enough. A curve that suggests a cheek, the rim of an eye socket, the quiet architecture of a jaw. Even in this careful reproduction, there is something undeniably human about it. Something that makes your mind say, almost without words, someone was here. If you're listening late, when your thoughts sometimes drift toward loneliness, let this be a gentle counter-spell. The past is full of company, not loud company, not demanding company, just the steady presence of others who once looked up at the same moon and felt the same need for shelter. In the archive's lamplight, the cast seems pale as bone, though it was once stone-coloured, dust-coloured, earth-coloured. I imagine the original resting in a case, in a different room, under different lights, visited by careful hands and careful eyes. But here, tonight, It is enough to let the idea settle. There was a face in Europe long before Europe had the name Europe. I touch the edge of the drawer, then pause. Sometimes, when we're tired, our minds do one of two things. They sprint forward, chasing tomorrow, or they circle backward, replaying old scenes, old conversations, old worries, as if they might change the ending. So tonight, we'll do something kinder. We'll let time expand. We'll let the mind step into a much larger calendar, one that makes our personal deadlines feel smaller, softer, less sharp. The Atapuerca Mountains in northern Spain are not dramatic in the way of cliffs by the sea. They are modest hills, folded gently, green in parts, stony in others. A place you might drive past without imagining the enormous story hidden inside. But the story is there, layered underfoot like pages, limestone caves, corridors of stone, sediment that drifts in slowly, century after century, like dust settling in the corner of a room no one enters. And one day, very recently, in the scale of this tale, people began to look carefully. They began to listen to what the hills had been holding. In your mind, you can picture it like this: a cave mouth, dark and cool, breathing out cold air, even in summer, the smell of damp stone, the sound of water somewhere deeper, a slow drip that never hurries, a headlamp glow, gentle on the rock, hands brushing away loose soil, not frantic, not greedy, just patient. And then, without fanfare, a face, emerging as if waking from a long sleep. Not waking in a rush. Waking the way you wake on a day off, when you don't have to go anywhere, when you can keep your eyes closed a little longer and simply feel the bed supporting you. That is how the past returns when it returns well. It doesn't leap out at us. It rises, it softens into view. It says, quietly, "I was always here." There is a tenderness in the idea that a face can survive as a fragment, as a suggestion, and still be recognized. It reminds me of the way we recognize loved ones, even in partial memories. Just a laugh, just a gesture, just the angle of a hand on a coffee mug. You don't need the entire scene to know the person. A face is enough. And this face, older than most of our assumptions, offers a calm kind of surprise. It tells us that humans, or human ancestors, reached into Europe earlier than many people once believed. Not in a dramatic migration tale with banners and battles, more likely in small movements, small choices, following animals, following water, following the slow logic of survival. And if you let it, this becomes comforting, because it suggests that our species has always known how to endure long journeys, not by sprinting, but by continuing. One step, then another, a rhythm like breathing. I close my eyes for a moment and imagine the world of that face. The air is colder than the archive's air, colder than your bedroom air. A wind moves over open ground. Trees stand spaced out, leaving wide views between them. The sky is big, the way the sky becomes big when you stand far from cities. At night, the darkness is deeper, the stars are sharper. The Milky Way is not a poetic idea, it is an actual pale river of light overhead. Somewhere a group is moving. They are not marching, they are traveling the way animals travel, in response to season, to hunger, to the simple need to find the next safe place. And when they stop, they do what all tired creatures do. They look for shelter. They gather close. They share warmth. They listen. The cave is not a symbol to them. It is simply a place that offers quiet protection from wind. Inside, the cave holds the warmth of bodies and the scent of smoke. The sound of the outside world becomes distant, softened by stone. If you want, you can let your own room become a cave for a moment. Notice the way walls hold back the night. Notice how a blanket can be a small shelter. Notice how, when you breathe out, the exhale is like a little fire. Warm, brief, enough. And here is another soft question placed gently on the table. When you imagine that ancient cave, what feels most calming to you? The steady drip of water, the shared warmth, or the wide star-filled sky beyond the entrance? You can answer in your mind, or you can let it be a question you never solve. Either way, the image itself can slow you down. Back in the archive, the cast remains still, and yet it seems to pull the room wider. The cabinet no longer feels like furniture. It feels like a portal, a quiet device for stretching time until it becomes spacious. I slide the drawer halfway in, then stop again because the folder beside the cast has a thin map inside. Not a modern road map, a pale diagram of layers, lines and labels, like a gentle topography of the underground. This is where the metaphor returns, soft and useful. The earth is a book. Not a book you must study. A book that can be read with your fingertips, slowly, the way you might trace the raised letters on a book cover in the dark. Each layer of sediment is a page. Each cave is a chapter. And when you feel overwhelmed by the story of your own day, emails, errands, obligations, you can remember that the world has always been writing longer stories beneath your feet. There is comfort in that, not because it makes your problems unimportant, but because it reminds you you are held by something vast. You are not floating alone in a frantic universe. You are lying right now on a planet that has been patiently making layers for millions of years. And if the planet can be patient, maybe you can too. The drawer F wood meets wood. The archive returns to its quiet hum. But now something has shifted. The cabinet's labels are no longer just labels. They are invitations. They are gentle doors. And the next door, I notice, has a color in my imagination even before I open it. Because it reads, Aegean, when the sea was grass. That phrase, when the sea was grass, feels like a dream. Like a line you hear half asleep and carry into your pillow. So let's not open it all at once. Let's approach it the way we approached the face. Slowly, with breath, with the willingness to be surprised in a calm way. In a moment, we will step into a landscape that has changed roles, where water and land have traded places like actors in a quiet play. And we will watch large animals move through valleys that are now underwater, as if time itself is a gentle tide, coming and going. But for now, stay here, in the archive, with the cabinet closed, the lamp low, and your body supported. Inhale, as if you are taking in warm air from a cave. Exhale, as if you are letting the cold wind pass you by. And feel how, even across 1,000,000 years, the simplest rhythm remains the same. Breath in, breath out. The patient face in the dust would understand that rhythm. So would you. Before we move on, I want to linger on one more quiet thought the caves offer. Stone feels solid, but time makes it soft. A hillside can become a roof. A river can become a hallway. A sea can become a meadow, and then return to the sea again. Geography is not a fixed stage. It is a slow, patient dancer, changing partners over thousands and thousands of nights. When your own life feels like it has shifted, when routines change, when people leave, when a familiar chapter closes, this can feel frightening. But the earth whispers something gentler. Change is not always loss. Sometimes it is simply the world finding a new shape. If you're carrying a worry tonight, try placing it, just for a moment, on an imaginary shelf in this archive. Let it sit there like a labeled box, safe and contained. You can come back to it later when you're rested. And if tonight's story reminded you of a beautiful memory, perhaps a road trip under stars, a childhood cave tour, a quiet winter walk, feel free to share it below. Even a few simple words can be a small light for someone else listening in the dark. Here, no one rests alone. The cabinet stays with us, steady and kind, and the next drawer is already waiting, holding a landscape that looks like water in our minds, even before we see it. We will open it slowly, like sunrise over sleep. The next drawer is labeled in ink that has softened at the edges, as if even the handwriting has learned to relax.
Aegean, when the sea was grass. I slide it open, and the archive seems to widen. Inside, there is no single object as small as the bone tool, no human curve like the cave-born face. Instead, there is a thin stack of maps, layers upon layers, each one showing the same region in a different mood. Shorelines shift, colors change, the sea expands, then retreats. Lines that look permanent on a modern atlas become suggestions here. And suddenly, I understand why the archivists chose that phrase. When the sea was grass. Not metaphorically, not poetically, literally, at least for long stretches of time, long enough for animals to walk, long enough for plants to root, long enough for wind to comb through fields where waves now roll. If you're lying in bed tonight, maybe your mind is still clinging to the day, replaying tasks, conversations, the quiet pressure of being needed.
Let this image offer you a different scale, a softer one. Imagine geography as something that breathes. Inhale, the land rises, the water retreats, and valleys open like hands. Exhale, the sea returns, covering the same places with blue, and the world becomes a mirror again. In the archive, the maps feel like a lullaby written in lines. I pick up the top sheet. It shows the Aegean as we know it now. Scattered islands, deep water, a bright blue that people travel for, photograph, dream of. But beneath it, another sheet hints at an older version. Wider plains, connected land bridges, gentle slopes where the sea has not yet claimed the ground. And in my mind, the archive lamp becomes a small sun. The scene changes, not with a sharp cut, but the way a dream shifts when you roll over. We are no longer in the storage room. We are standing on a vast meadow. The air is mild, the light is clean. A breeze moves steadily, carrying the scent of dry grasses and distant water. The horizon is open, and the sky has that particular blue you only get when the world is quiet and unhurried. Ahead, the land dips into a shallow valley. And across it, slow, heavy, unbothered, large animals move, not in panic, not chased, just traveling, the way herds travel, a quiet procession of life. You can picture them without strain, sturdy bodies, broad backs, calm heads. In some seasons, perhaps even animals we associate with rivers and wetlands, creatures that in our time would feel out of place here. The thought is gently surreal, like seeing a familiar friend in an unexpected city. And yet in deep time, the unexpected becomes ordinary. This is the soft discovery of the Aegean meadow. The sea you know was not always sea. It was once a path. Not a heroic crossing, not an epic voyage. A path you could walk with time. A path that did not demand courage so much as endurance. One step, then another, while the wind kept its steady song. If you're the kind of listener who finds comfort in imagining wide spaces, let your mind rest in this one. Let it become a place your thoughts can wander without getting lost. Notice the grass. Notice how each stalk bends and rises again, practicing resilience without drama. Notice the sound, a soft rustle, a whispering field. And if you like, try matching your breath to that rhythm. Inhale, as if you are lifting with the grass. Exhale, as if you are settling back down. In the meadow, the ground is not perfectly flat. There are shallow channels where water once traveled and will travel again. There are patches of darker soil where plants grow more densely, There are stones warmed by sunlight, inviting stillness. Somewhere far off, a river threads through the plain, silver in the distance. A small group of people moves near that river. They are not separate from the landscape. They are part of it, as natural as the animals and the wind. They follow familiar cues, water, shade, the slow calendar of seasons. When they stop, they sit. When they need to move, they move. Their lives do not contain the modern idea of late. And in that thought, there is relief, because late is a feeling that belongs to clocks. The meadow belongs to light. In the archive, the maps do not show the sound of insects, the taste of dust, the warmth of sun on skin. But you can feel those details anyway because your body understands landscapes even when your mind doesn't have all the facts. The earth is not only a book, it is also a memory. A long, patient memory that holds different versions of the same place, like a person who has lived through many phases and still remains themselves. If your life has changed shape, new job, new city, new routines, a new emptiness where someone used to be, this meadow offers a calm lesson. Places change without losing their essence. They simply become another version of themselves, and you too are allowed to be another version of yourself. You don't have to force the old shape to fit. You can let the tide move and trust that something gentle can emerge. I lay the map down and my eyes drift to the next sheet in the stack. It is darker, textured with contour lines. It shows depth, not just surface. It suggests the sea as a bowl, the land as a rim. It reminds me that the world is always sculpting itself, slowly, like a potter who never rushes. This is why the transitions in our story feel like waves, because the world itself changes like waves, soft, repetitive, inevitable, not angry. And now, as the meadow's scene lingers, I feel the story asking for another bridge, a way to carry us from open grass into something greener, denser, more enclosed. Because after the meadow, our journey will pass through a different kind of hidden world, a forest so thick it seems like a single breathing organism. But before we step into the green, I want to give you a small, interactive moment, gentle as a porch light. When you imagine the Aegean as a meadow where islands were once hills and the sea was once a walking path, what settles in you more? Wonder, quiet comfort, or a soft sense of spaciousness? You can answer in the comments if you wish, or you can answer only to yourself, the way you answer a question in a journal you never show anyone. Either way, the feeling is the point. In the meadow, night begins to arrive, not abruptly, not with a sudden chill. The light simply tilts and shadows lengthen like slow breaths. The animals continue their steady movement. The small group finds a place to rest. A fire might be made, small and practical, with smoke that rises into a sky that is turning violet. And above them, stars begin to appear, one by one, like someone opening tiny drawers in the ceiling of the world. This too can be a lullaby. Stars do not rush. They arrive when they arrive. If your mind is still busy, let it watch those stars. Let it count them without effort. One, then another, then another. And if counting starts to feel like work, stop. Let the stars simply be there. Back in the archive, the lamp flickers slightly, as if the building has sighed. I notice that my shoulders are lower now, my hands calmer. There is something about imagining a sea becoming a meadow that loosens the tight grip of the present, because it tells you the world has been remaking itself without panic for a very long time. So maybe you don't have to panic tonight. Maybe the thing you're worried about will also find its new shape in time. I slide the Aegean drawer halfway closed and pause. On the inside of the drawer, a note is taped, an archivist's reminder. It reads, in simple handwriting, Geography is liquid. I smile quietly. Geography is liquid. Sometimes the mind believes it must hold everything steady, like a hand gripping the edge of a moving boat. But a boat stays upright not because you grip, but because the water supports it. If you feel yourself gripping tonight, try a tiny experiment. Unclench your jaw, let your tongue rest. Soften the space between your eyebrows. Imagine the meadow's grass doing the same, releasing its stiffness, letting the wind pass through. Each time you exhale, let one small worry become a blade of grass, bending, not breaking. And if a thought returns, welcome it back gently. Then let it drift on as if it is walking across the old Aegean plain toward a horizon it doesn't need to reach tonight. Breath in, and the field brightens. Breath out, and the field darkens into dusk. Nothing has to be solved. The only task is to be here, supported by the earth's wide patience, for a few quiet minutes until sleep begins to arrive. Naturally. It's true in the Aegean, it's true in our lives. The shorelines of our days move. Responsibilities come and go like tides. Some seasons feel like open meadow, some feel like deep water. And the gentle invitation tonight is not to fight the tide, just to float with it. The drawer closes with a soft click. And now, without hurry, I look at the next label, the one that will bring us from open grass to deep green. Amazon, a garden city beneath leaves. We will go there next, not to shock ourselves with scale or mystery, but to feel the soothing idea that even in the densest forest, human life once found a way to live in harmony, like a garden that blends into the trees. For now, let the meadow fade in the way dreams fade, slowly, kindly, leaving only the sensation of open air in your chest. Inhale like wind over grass. Exhale like a tide returning, gentle, inevitable, and when you are ready, we will step under the canopy. The drawer marked Amazon, a garden city beneath leaves, is heavier than the others. Not because the paper inside weighs more, but because the idea does. When most of us picture the Amazon, we picture an ocean of green that has always been there, untouched, endless, wild in a way that feels separate from human hands. We imagine a place where history is swallowed, where rain smooths footprints away, where vines braid over everything, where the past dissolves back into soil. And yet, the drawer opens and the archive offers a gentler truth. Inside are aerial photographs faded at the edges. There are sketches of earthworks, simple lines that curve like calm handwriting. There are notes about soil that is darker than it should be, richer than surrounding ground, as if someone once fed the earth deliberately, the way you might care for a garden with compost and patience. And there is one image that looks almost like a dream, a faint geometric pattern beneath forest canopy, as if the trees are wearing a hidden map. I let the lamp's warm light fall across the papers, and in my mind the archive becomes humid, green, alive with soft sounds. We step into the Amazon the way we step into a quiet room after a storm. The air is heavy but gentle, filled with the scent of wet leaves and warm soil. You hear water everywhere, dripping, trickling, breathing through roots. The forest doesn't shout, it murmurs. Above you, the canopy is a ceiling of overlapping greens, layered like deep velvet. Light filters through in slow shafts, and dust motes become tiny insects, and tiny insects become part of the forest's steady pulse. If you've been holding tension in your body, let this scene do something kind. Imagine the tension as a knot of dry string, and imagine the humid air loosening it strand by strand. Inhale, and the knot softens. Exhale, and it relaxes. Somewhere in the forest, a path appears. Not a modern path with gravel and signs, a path that feels like it has always been there, simply because enough feet walked it. The ground is firm in a narrow line, slightly raised, less muddy than the rest, like the forest remembers where people preferred to place their steps. We follow the path slowly, and the forest welcomes us without ceremony. Leaves brush gently against your shoulders as you pass. A bird calls once, then pauses as if listening to your breath. The air tastes faintly of rain. And then, in a clearing that isn't quite a clearing, more like a widening of the path, there is evidence of a different relationship between humans and trees. Not conquest, not destruction. A kind of collaboration. A small mound shaped by hands, a shallow ditch guiding water, a series of raised beds where plants might have grown with more ease. Everything is made of earth and fiber, materials that return to the forest quietly without leaving scars. This is why some researchers speak of a garden city, not a city of stone towers and loud streets, a city woven into the living world, where the boundary between settlement and forest is soft, like the edge of a dream. I imagine it in the late afternoon when the heat is gentler. Smoke rises from a cooking fire, thin and pale. People move calmly, carrying baskets, tending plants, rinsing tools in water. Children laugh once, then the sound is swallowed by leaves, turning into something tender instead of sharp. And I think about you, listening now. Maybe you've spent years feeling like you must separate your life into compartments. Work here, rest there, obligations here, self-care there. Modern life can make everything feel divided. But the garden city suggests a different possibility, integration. A way of living where the parts of life blend, like vines crossing, like roots sharing water. There is a softness in that thought. If tonight your mind is busy, try holding this image, a community that does not fight the forest, and the forest that does not erase the community. They simply interlace. There is another detail the drawer holds, and it is one of my favorites because it is so quiet you could miss it if you blink. A small sample bag of soil sealed and labeled with a note in the margin, unusually dark. The darkness isn't dramatic. It is the color of coffee grounds, the color of a garden after rain. It suggests care repeated over generations. Ash from cooking fires, scraps of food, plant matter returned to the ground again and again until the earth became richer than the surrounding forest floor. I don't want you to remember the science of it. You don't need to, just remember the feeling. People feeding the land the way you might feed someone you love. When I imagine that, I think of hands. Hands smoothing soil into a raised bed, hands tying a knot in a fiber cord, hands peeling bark with slow patience, then twisting strands together until they become a rope, a basket, a net. This is the kind of history you can almost feel on your own skin. If your palms are open right now, resting on a blanket, notice the tiny pulse in your fingertips. Those same pulses existed in the hands that worked this forest long before our words for Amazon. And if you'd like, you can do a small calming ritual. Press your thumb gently to your first finger, then release. Press to the next finger, then release. As if you are counting quiet steps along the forest path. In the garden city, someone is doing something similar, counting without numbers, weaving, repeating, looping. The mind settles when it finds a rhythm, and the body recognizes rhythm as safety. If tonight's story brings you a small sense of comfort, you can leave a gentle comment for yourself. One simple word is enough. Rest, or quiet, or here. And if it reminded you of a beautiful memory, gardening, walking under trees, or building something with your hands, feel free to share it below. Your quiet story might help another listener exhale tonight somewhere too. Back in the archive drawer, I notice a small printed phrase beside one of the images. LiDAR. It is a modern word, sharp at first glance, like a tool in a workshop. But here, even this technology enters our story quietly. LiDAR is sometimes described like rain made of light. A plane passes above the canopy, and it sends countless pulses downward. Most bounce off leaves, some slip through gaps reaching the ground. And with enough patience, enough pulses, the hidden shapes of the land appear. Roads, mounds, plazas, patterns that the forest has been protecting. I love the gentleness of that, not hacking through trees, not tearing the canopy apart, just letting light fall and listening to what returns. So in our story, LiDAR becomes a soft discovery, not a spectacle, a hush of illumination. Imagine it now. Night in the Amazon is thick, but not frightening. It is simply full. Frogs sing like tiny bells. Insects hum in steady layers. Far away, a river moves, black and reflective. Above the canopy, unseen, a small craft passes. It does not roar in our imagination. It glides, and it releases its quiet rain of light. The light is not visible to the eye. It is a secret conversation between technology and Earth. And slowly, so slowly it feels like a dream forming. The forest gives up a shape, a straight line where a road once ran, a rectangle where a plaza once opened, a gentle curve that suggests a planned path, not a random clearing. It is not shocking, it is beautiful, because it tells us that human intention can exist without violence, that a community can shape the land and still leave it capable of becoming forest again. If you want, you can pause here and ask yourself a calm question. When you picture rain made of light revealing a hidden garden city, what do you feel? Quiet awe, comfort, or the soft relief of being reminded that humans can live gently? You can answer later or never. Let the question be like a lantern on a shelf. In the forest, the imagined garden city breathes for a while longer. A woman kneels by dark soil, planting something small. A man repairs a woven basket, his fingers moving in a rhythm older than any calendar. Someone laughs softly, then the laughter dissolves into the canopy, becoming part of the night. And then, as all nights do, it leans toward rest. Fires become coals, voices become murmurs. The forest's chorus continues, steady and protective. This is one of the kindest lessons the Amazon offers. Even when evidence disappears from sight, it may not be gone. It may simply be sleeping beneath leaves. That is true for cities. And sometimes it is true for parts of you. Old strength, old hopes, old versions of calm that you think you've lost. They may not be gone. They may be resting, waiting for the right kind of light. Back in the archive, I slide the drawer halfway closed. The papers settle with a soft whisper. The lamp glows steadily, and I feel the story preparing to move again, like a river turning a bend, because the next drawer is not green, it is dark blue. It is labeled with depth, with silence. Mediterranean, the stillness of the abyss. We will follow it soon, down into water so quiet it feels like time itself has slowed. But before we descend, let the forest hold you for a moment longer. Let the canopy be your ceiling. Let the humid air be your blanket. Let the soft chorus of night creatures be your background music, steady and non-demanding. Inhale, as if you are drawing in the scent of wet leaves. Exhale, as if you are releasing a thought back into the trees. And remember, the most enduring things are not always the ones made of stone. Sometimes what lasts is a way of living, so gentle it can disappear into the world without breaking it. The drawer marked Mediterranean, the stillness of the abyss, opens with a sound so small it almost feels like a breath. Inside, the foam is a deep navy, and the papers are sealed in clear sleeves, as if the archive wants to keep them as dry as possible, even here. in a room far from any coastline. There are photographs of water that looks like ink. There are diagrams of a ship's silhouette resting on the seafloor like a thought that has finally stopped moving. There is a small vial of sand, pale and fine, labeled only with depth and coordinates, numbers that feel less like directions and more like a lullaby made of distance. I let my hand hover over the images and, in my mind, the forest's humidity cools into salt air. We leave the Amazon the way you leave a long day, not by slamming a door, but by dimming a lamp. The canopy fades into shadow, the path becomes a memory, and gradually the sound of insects is replaced by something wider and slower, waves arriving in the dark, and retreating again, and arriving again, as if the sea has been practicing calm for thousands of years. If you are listening while your mind is still busy, let the sea teach it a simpler rhythm. Inhale. The tide comes in. Exhale. The tide goes out. No argument, no urgency, just motion that doesn't need your help. We stand on a quiet shore at night, somewhere along the Mediterranean. The air is mild, the kind of mild that makes you feel safe even when the world is dark. A thin line of moonlight lies on the water like a path made of silver dust. Far out, a ship's light might blink once, then disappear behind the curve of the horizon. And then slowly, we begin to descend. Not as a dramatic plunge, not as a dangerous dive. In our sleep story, descent is gentle. It is a slow elevator of water, lowering you into quiet the way a blanket lowers over your shoulders when you finally stop adjusting it. At first, the surface sounds remain, small waves, a distant gull, the soft hush of wind. But as we sink, those sounds soften as if they are being wrapped in cloth. The water grows darker, the moonlight fades above us. The world becomes a deep blue that feels more like a color you can breathe than a color you can see. You might notice in your body that darkness can be soothing when it is not threatening. Darkness is where the nervous system rests. Darkness is where the eyes stop working so hard. Darkness is where the mind, if it chooses, can stop scanning the horizon for the next task. Here, in the water, there is nothing to do. There is only sinking, only drifting, only the slow, steady companionship of pressure and silence. As we go deeper, the temperature drops, not sharply, just enough to feel clean and clarifying like cool sheets on a warm night. Tiny particles float by, illuminated for a second by a faint glow, then swallowed again. They look like snow, and the resemblance is calming. Snow quiets cities, deep water quiets everything. Now, beneath us, a shape appears. It is a ship, not moving, not broken into frantic pieces, simply resting. It lies on the seafloor as if it has decided to sleep there, and the sea has agreed to keep watch. This is what the archive means by the stillness of the abyss, because in the deep, time behaves differently. In shallow water, storms rearrange. Waves pull and push. Sand shifts. Things disappear quickly. But in the abyss, the world slows down. Currents are gentle. Light is scarce. The ordinary hurry of decay becomes softer, less aggressive. A ship can lie there for centuries, sometimes for millennia, with its outlines still clear, like a memory that refuses to be erased. If you imagine the ship now, imagine it with kindness, not as a tragedy, not as a headline, just as an object that once traveled and then stopped. A wooden body shaped by hands, a deck that once held footsteps, a mast that once held wind, ropes that once creaked softly, lanterns that once made small circles of warmth in the dark. Now it rests. Fish Move around it like thoughts moving around a sleeping mind, present, gentle, not disturbing. And here comes a quiet discovery, the kind that doesn't shock, but still opens a door inside you. Down here, history does not feel loud. It feels protected. The deep sea can be a vault, a library with no visitors, where the pages are kept flat and undisturbed. If your own life has felt like it's been tossed by waves, deadlines, obligations, sudden changes, consider the relief of this place. Consider what it would feel like to have your thoughts sink to the bottom too, and rest there without being pulled apart by surface weather. In the archive, one photograph shows the ship's hull with an almost surreal neatness. Another shows amphorae, large jars, stacked in a pattern that looks like sleeping eggs in a nest. Another shows a rope coil, still coiled as if the hands that made it expected to return. I like to imagine the ship's last evening, not in drama but in ordinary gestures. Someone folds a cloth and tucks it into a box. Someone pours the final cup of water, then rinses the cup with a practiced swirl. A hand checks a knot, tightening it once, then relaxing. A lantern is turned down low so the flame won't waste oil. Voices soften as night thickens. Maybe someone thinks of a home shoreline or a child's sleeping face, or the simple pleasure of arriving. Then the sea, as seas do, keeps its own counsel, and the ship drifts into quiet without asking anyone's permission. These images aren't meant to make you lean forward in excitement. They are meant to make you lean back into your pillow and feel the comfort of continuity. Humans have always carried things across water. Humans have always trusted the horizon. Humans have always lit small lamps against large darkness. And sometimes humans have also learned the deepest lesson of all. You can stop. You can rest. Even a journey across a sea can end in stillness. If you'd like, let me offer you a gentle question, the kind you can answer with a single feeling. When you picture a ship resting in the deep, kept quiet by dark water, what does your body feel most? Calm, safety, or a soft kind of awe? If you want to share, you can write one word in the comments, and if you don't want to move at all, that's fine too. Here, no one rests alone. The descent continues just a little deeper until the ship is fully beneath us, and we are drifting above it like a slow cloud. The water is so still that it feels like the world is holding its breath. And yet, you can still sense life. A small flicker of bioluminescence, a gentle glide of a creature you cannot quite name, the faint shimmer of particles settling. There is no music down here unless you imagine it. And the music, I imagine, is simple. The sound of your own breathing, slowed to match the sea. Inhale, a long, quiet lift. Exhale, a longer, quieter release. Now notice what happens when you think about time in this place. On the surface, time is a ruler. It measures. It judges. It tells you what you did not finish. But in the abyss, time is more like silt. It falls slowly. It gathers without accusation. It covers sharp edges and makes them soft. It is possible, just possible, that your own thoughts can be like that tonight. Not rulers. Silt. Soft falling, a settling. If a worry arrives, let it arrive like a grain of sand. Let it sink. Let it join the rest on the seafloor. You do not have to argue with it. You do not have to fix it. You can simply let it become part of the quiet. In the archive drawer, I see another note taped near the corner of a photo. It is written by an archivist, but it feels like a message meant for tired people. Depth preserves. Depth preserves. What a gentle idea, because it suggests that not everything is lost when it disappears from sight. Some things are simply out of reach of surface storms. Some things are resting where nothing hurries them, like the ship, like the amphorae, like the rope coil, and maybe, if you want to believe it, like certain parts of you, your patience, your hope, your ability to feel safe. They may be down there, preserved beneath the noise, waiting for you to return when you are ready. But tonight, you don't have to return to anything. Tonight, you can simply float. We begin our ascent very slowly because even leaving the abyss should feel like waking from a good nap. Gradual, kind, without alarms. The ship grows smaller beneath us. The dark blue lightens, the pressure releases. And far above, the surface becomes a faint shimmer, like the underside of glass. As we rise, I want to bridge us toward the next draw, the next soft discovery, one that involves not water, but fire. Fire that left behind ash and sealed rooms and silent walls. Because the cabinet is not only about landscapes, it is also about interiors, the small spaces humans made to feel protected. The next label I notice is written in a firmer hand. Pompeii, the Black Room, lamplight. But we won't enter it abruptly. We will bring the sea's stillness with us, as if we are carrying a pocket of deep water in our chest. One more breath in the rhythm of the tide. Inhale, the sea comes in. Exhale, the sea goes out. And as you exhale, let the abyss's lesson settle into you. Some kinds of peace are not found by doing more. They are found by going deeper and letting the world become quiet. The drawer labeled Pompeii, the Black Room, lamplight, is narrow, as if it contains something delicate. When I slide it open, the air in my imagination warms, not with heat, but with the small intimacy of a flame. Inside, there is a photograph of a room so dark it seems to drink the light around it. The walls are painted black, not because someone wanted gloom, but because black can be soft when it's made for candlelight. Black can be velvet. Black can be quiet. Black can make a small lamp feel like a moon. Beside the photograph, there are sketches of frescoes, figures and shapes that appear to float, as if they were meant to be seen slowly after the eyes have adjusted. And there is a note in the archivist's hand, a room designed for evening. A room designed for evening. Even before we step into Pompeii, that phrase feels like permission. Permission to let your own evening be designed for rest. Permission to stop forcing brightness into every corner of your mind. So gently, the archive fades again, and we arrive in a town that once lived near the sea, under a mountain. Tonight, we visit Pompeii the way you visit a quiet street in an old neighborhood, with respect, with softness. The past is not here to shock you, it is here to accompany you. It is evening in Pompeii. The air is warm, but the heat has eased, as if the day has finally loosened its grip. Stone holds the last warmth of sunlight. Somewhere, a fountain trickles. Somewhere, a door closes with a gentle thud, and a household settles into the slower rhythm of night. If you can, notice your own room right now. Notice how the day has already slipped away from the corners. Notice that you are allowed to follow it. We walk along a street paved with worn stones, and the sound of our footsteps is muted by imagination, more a memory of sound than sound itself. Shadows stretch from column to column. The sky above is deepening into indigo. And on one quiet doorway, a small lamp is being lit. The flame begins as a thin, uncertain tongue of light. Then it steadies, and the room inside becomes a pocket of warmth. A person, someone ordinary, someone who had worries and hopes, turns the lamp lower. Not to hide, not to be dramatic, just to make the light last. This is how the Black Room welcomes us. The walls are painted in a dark tone that absorbs brightness, so the lamp's glow becomes the main event. It doesn't bounce harshly, it settles, it spreads like honey, it pools on the floor, on the table, on the curve of a cup. And the frescoes painted on the black emerge gently as if they are waking. In our modern homes, light is often too strong, screens are sharp, LEDs are relentless. Even our relaxation can be loud with brightness, notifications, constant little flares of attention. But the black room was built for a different kind of evening. An evening where light is small and precious, where conversation softens because people can see each other's faces in warm tones, where silence is not awkward, it is natural. If your thoughts are racing, let this room offer a simple practice. Imagine you are turning down a lamp inside your mind, not turning it off, just lowering it a little until the shadows feel friendly. In the center of the room, there is a low table. On it, perhaps a bowl of fruit, figs or grapes, a cup half full catching the lamp's reflection, a folded cloth. Nothing extravagant. The calmness here is not luxury, it is design. And on the walls, the paintings feel like slow-moving dreams, a figure standing near water, a small bird, a vine curling, a face that looks like it's listening. The room is called black, but it does not feel like darkness, it feels like rest. I think about the way people long ago prepared for night. They did not have infinite light. So the night asked them to be more deliberate. They learned to accept the closing of the day. They learned to live with shadows. And in that acceptance, there is something healing. Because so often, what keeps us awake is the feeling that we must keep the day going, that we must keep producing, responding, solving. But the black room whispers another truth. Some parts of life are meant to dim. Here is a soft question you can hold without effort. If your mind had a lamp tonight, what would it feel like to turn it down one notch? Relief, tenderness, or a quiet sense of safety? Let the answer arrive on its own, or let it drift away. Either is fine. We sit in the black room for a while. Outside, the street grows quieter. Inside, the lamp's flame makes slow shadows on the wall, shadows that move like waves. Now there is a small discovery hidden in the room, a detail that feels like a secret kept for tired people. On the black wall, the pigments and shapes were chosen with lamplight in mind. In bright daylight, the room might feel too dark, but in the evening, under the warm flame, it becomes alive. Subtle reds and golds emerge, and the paintings feel almost three-dimensional. This isn't a shock. It is simply a reminder. Some beauty is designed for quiet conditions. You may be like that too. Some of your best thoughts do not appear at noon. Some of your truest feelings do not speak in busy rooms. Some of your gentlest strength shows up only when life is dim and slow. If that's true for you, there is nothing wrong with you. You are not broken for needing low light. You are simply made for evenings sometimes. The lamp flickers once, then steadies, and the room's hush becomes thick enough to hold a memory. I imagine someone in Pompeii, sitting exactly where we are sitting now, listening to the small sounds of their household. A spoon set down, a soft sigh, a friend's quiet laugh, a moment of worry that comes and goes like a passing cloud, and then a longer silence. Comfortable, shared. If tonight you feel alone, borrow that silence. Let it be shared across time. Here, no one rests alone. In the archive drawer, behind the photograph, there is another note. It doesn't belong to Pompeii exactly, but it is filed here because it shares the same mood. Herculaneum, scrolls asleep in ash. The name Herculaneum lies close to Pompeii on the map, like a neighbor's porch light visible through trees. And in our story, it feels like the next room in the same house, the house of evening. So without leaving the lamp behind, we step quietly toward Herculaneum, a town that also lived under the same mountain's shadow. Again, we do not enter disaster, we enter stillness. We arrive in a small study, wooden shelves, a table, a place where someone once read by lamplight. On the table are scrolls, rolled and tied, They look like sleeping animals curled into themselves. And then history arrives, not as violence in our telling, but as a blanket that falls and seals. The scrolls sleep for centuries. When they are found, they are fragile, like charcoal. Too fragile for careless hands, too precious for rushing. And this is where our modern world offers a soft miracle, one that happens in silence. People learn to read what they cannot touch. They learn to listen to ink that has been sleeping. They learn to let light and careful computation reveal letters without unrolling the scroll. If that sounds technical, let it stay poetic instead. Imagine a closed flower pressed in a book. Imagine learning the shape of its petals without opening the pages. Imagine hearing a whisper through a wall, not to invade, but to understand. It is a kind of tenderness, a promise that gentleness can be intelligent. And as letters reappear, slowly, patiently, it feels as if the past is exhaling. Words that were written for an ancient evening return to our evening. Not to make us anxious, to remind us, even if something is buried, it may not be lost. Even if you cannot open a chapter yet, it can still be there, intact, waiting. If tonight there is something in you that feels sealed, grief, exhaustion, a memory you haven't wanted to touch, let the scrolls comfort you. You do not have to force them open. You can let time and care do their slow work. You can let understanding arrive in its own quiet way. I return, in my imagination, to the black room. The lamp is still burning. The paintings still float on the dark walls. And the room feels like a bridge between worlds, between daylight and sleep, between what is loud and what is true. Before we close this drawer, I want to offer you a gentle invitation. If this room's low light brought you calm, leave a gentle comment for yourself. One word is enough, and if it reminded you of a beautiful memory, reading at night, a grandfather's lamp, a quiet living room after guests have left, feel free to share it below. Your memory might become someone else's soft lantern. Now slowly, we dim the lamp one last time. Not to darkness, just to a softer glow. Inhale, as if warm light is entering your chest. Exhale, as if your thoughts are settling into the room's black velvet. And when you're ready, we will open the next drawer, one that holds something sealed, protective, almost like a small cocoon of time, a lead container that kept fragile beauty safe for centuries. A quiet lesson in being held, but for now, let the black room do what it was made to do. Let it make night feel safe. Outside, the mountain is only a silhouette, and the stars keep their quiet watch. Inside, the lamp keeps a smaller watch, steady and warm. If your thoughts drift, let them drift. The room will hold you like a hand until sleep finally finds you. The next drawer is smaller than the others, and when I slide it open, it feels as if the cabinet is offering me something private. A quincum, lid cocoon, fragile gifts. Inside, the foam is pale grey, and the item resting in it looks almost plain at first glance, a container of lead shaped like a quiet box, its surface dulled by age. It doesn't glitter, it doesn't ask for attention, it simply sits there with the heavy patience of a stone that has learned to keep a secret. Lead is not a romantic material, it is dense, stubborn, serious, but tonight, in this archive, lead becomes something tender. Because it did what tenderness often does, it protected what could not protect itself. I touched the edge of the foam with a gloved finger, and in my imagination the archive shifts again, carrying us to a place along the Danube, in what is now Budapest. The river moves slowly in the dark, reflecting the faint light of a moon that feels far away and calm. There is a chill in the air, the kind that makes you pull your coat closer without urgency. Aquincum was once a Roman city on the frontier, a place of roads and baths and ordinary lives. People here bought bread, people here carried water, people here wrote letters and forgot where they put them. In other words, it was a place full of the same human texture, routines, small worries, small comforts, the steady effort of living. And somewhere within that living, a moment arrived when something needed to be held safely. The lead container, this cocoon, was used as a kind of time capsule. Not the loud, modern idea of a capsule meant for a ceremony, more like a private decision. If something matters, we wrap it carefully. If something is fragile, we give it walls. Inside the cocoon were objects so delicate they could have vanished with one careless breath, a thin glass vessel and threads of gold so fine they seem like captured sunlight. Think about that for a moment softly. Glass and gold, both are beautiful, but in completely different ways. Glass is transparency, the way water looks when it is still. Gold is warmth, the way lamplight feels on skin. And both were placed inside lead, like a heart placed inside a rib cage. There is something deeply comforting about this arrangement, the heaviest material guarding the lightest. If your life has felt exposed lately, too many eyes, too many demands, too much noise, let this idea be a small, soothing medicine. Imagine your own fragile parts being placed gently inside something steady, not to imprison you, to protect you. In the Roman world, lead was common for pipes and seals, for weights and practical things. But this use feels more intimate. It feels like someone understood, without modern psychology, what we understand now. The mind rests when it feels contained. A cocoon is not a cage. A cocoon is a promise. It says, you can be soft inside, you can unfold later. In the quiet of our story, we do not need to know exactly why the cocoon was made, whether it was a burial gift, a ritual offering, a private treasure stored away. Tonight, we let the mystery stay gentle. We let the word perhaps do its calming work. Perhaps it was made for someone beloved. Perhaps it was meant to travel and then never did. Perhaps it was a way of saying this moment matters enough to be sealed. And then time did what time always does. It settled, it covered, it waited. The cocoon slept. It slept like a sealed moon. Centuries passed like slow snowfall, and one day careful hands lifted it again into light. In some photographs, the cocoon sits on a work table beside a ruler and a pencil, and I find that strangely soothing. The ruler is there for measurement, yes, but also as a reminder that even study can be gentle. The pencil is there for notes, soft marks that can be erased, softened, forgiven. I imagine the moment the lid finally lifted, a faint metallic scent, a careful pause, a circle of lamplight on grey metal. Then, inside, a pocket of darkness that had been sealed for centuries, and within that darkness the quiet gleam of gold, not a treasure hunt gleam, more like the first warm light you see through closed eyelids at morning. It says something delicate was here, and someone cared enough to keep it safe. And it reached you. In the archive, the lead looks calm and opaque. But when I imagine it being opened, carefully, respectfully, I feel the same hush as when a person opens a letter that has traveled a long distance. You hesitate, you breathe, you allow the moment to be quiet. Inside, the gold threads do not shout, they simply glow. They remind me of something very small and very true. Beauty often survives best when it is not forced to perform. The glass, too, if it survived, would have held a shape that feels familiar to modern hands. A vessel, a container. Something meant to hold a liquid, a fragrance, a memory. And this is where the story turns inward, softly. Because the cocoon is not only about objects, it's about the human need to be held. When people listen to sleep stories, they are not only looking for facts, they are looking for a safe enclosure, the way a child looks for a blanket edge to hold between fingers. The mind relaxes when it feels that something is keeping watch. So let me offer you a simple invitation. As you listen, imagine an invisible cocoon around you, not tight, not heavy, just supportive. Imagine it as the boundary of your room, the softness of your bedding, the quiet agreement you make with the night. I can stop now. I could be fragile here. Nothing needs to break through. If your thoughts are busy, you can place them outside the cocoon, like shoes left at a door. Inside, only breath. Inhale, slow. Exhale, longer. Now I want to connect this cocoon to another kind of history, one that doesn't live in metal but in movement. Because the cabinet has a second note filed in this drawer, as if the archivist wanted to remind us, sometimes what is preserved is not the object, but the gesture. Tactile history, fiber, knots, hands. There are cultures long before and long after Rome that carried memory through touch, twisting bark into cord, weaving reeds into mats, tying knots that repeat across generations like a quiet refrain. One example comes from a place called Windmill Hill, where archaeologists found evidence of woven textiles and cordage, fragile things, the kind that usually disappear. And yet here and there a trace remains, an impression in clay, a pattern pressed into soil, a whisper of a weave. I love that kind of evidence because it is humble. It is not a king's monument. It is not a general's name carved in stone. It is the signature of ordinary hands, hands that tied, looped, braided, repaired, hands that turned restlessness into rhythm. If you've ever found yourself calmer while doing something repetitive, folding laundry, stirring soup, brushing hair, your nervous system already understands this ancient skill. The body loves gentle repetition because it says, we are safe enough to do small things. So tonight, the cocoon and the cord belong together. Lead protects fragile gold. Rhythm protects fragile minds. Here is a quiet question to place in your pocket. When you imagine those gold threads sleeping inside lead for 1,700 years, what rises in you? Amazement, peace, or gentle gratitude? And a second, even softer question, when you picture ancient hands, twisting fiber, tying knots, repeating the same motion until it becomes soothing. Does it remind you of anything you do today to calm yourself? If you'd like, you can share one small ritual in the comments. Tea, a nightly walk, a shower, a few slow breaths. Your ritual might become someone else's permission to rest. Here, no one rests alone. In the scene of a quincum, I imagine the Danube at dusk. The river is wide and steady. A boat moves quietly, almost without sound. On the shore, someone lights a lamp in a window, not bright, just enough. And somewhere, hidden beneath earth, the lead cocoon waits, unconcerned with the centuries above it. It does not hurry to be found. It does not fear being forgotten. It simply holds what it holds. This is a lesson modern life rarely teaches. You do not have to be visible to be valuable. You do not have to be productive to be real. Sometimes the most important work is the work of holding your own tenderness, holding a boundary, holding a pause. If you are exhausted tonight, consider that you may be carrying fragile things inside you. Hopes, sensitivities, memories you haven't had time to process. And perhaps what you need is not more effort, but a cocoon. Not forever. Just for the night, a place where you can be soft without consequence. As the drawer begins to close, I notice the cabinet's next label, written in a slightly different hand, as if a different archivist took over the night shift. Herculaneum, words returning, and beside it another. Olduvai, hands that knew. We are circling now, weaving connections, earth and cave and meadow and forest and sea, and lamplight and lead and fiber. Everything returns to one gentle truth. The past is not a list of shocks. It is a web of ordinary tenderness. So before we open the next drawer, let's stay with the cocoon for a final breath. Inhale. Imagine the air entering a safe container, warm and still. Exhale. Imagine your worries settling outside, like rain sliding off a roof. And if this story brought you calm, leave a gentle comment for yourself. One word is enough. Safe. Quiet. Held. Because tonight's lesson is simple and kind, the most beautiful things sometimes survive because something heavy agreed to protect them, and you too are allowed to be protected. The drawer labeled Herculaneum, words returning, is thinner than you expect, as if it contains only paper. But when I slide it open, the archive seems to hold its breath. Inside are photographs of scrolls that look like pieces of night. They are dark, brittle, and folded into themselves like sleeping animals curled for warmth. A small note beside them reads, "Carbonized papyrus. Do not unroll. Do not unroll." It sounds like a warning, but it is also a kind of kindness, because some things, when forced open too quickly, crumble. Some stories need gentler hands. Some memories, human or historical, need to be approached without grabbing. Herculaneum was a town near the sea, close to Pompeii, close enough to share the same horizon, the same mountain's silhouette. In daylight, it would have been bright with salt air, laughter, small markets, and the soft rhythm of waves against stone. But tonight, in our telling, we are not here for disaster. We are here for preservation. For the strange, quiet truth that even ash can become a blanket. Imagine a small study in the evening, a table of wood, smoothed by years of elbows and fingertips. A clay lamp turned low, a shelf lined with scrolls, each one tied with a thin cord. The room smells faintly of oil and ink, of papyrus and dust. Outside, someone speaks softly in the street. Inside, the words on the page wait patiently. A hand lifts one scroll, untying it with care. Not with hurry, not to conquer knowledge, just to sit with it, the way you sit with a story that calms you. The voice in the reader's mind is gentle, steady like a tide. If you are listening tonight with tired eyes, you already understand this scene. You know the feeling of a lamp that doesn't shout. You know the comfort of quiet reading, even when you cannot keep your focus perfectly. You know how the mind can drift, then return, then drift again without being punished. Now let the scene soften. Centuries pass like slow snowfall. The study disappears under layers of time. The scrolls, once flexible, become fragile, darkened by heat and pressure, compressed into charcoal-like forms. To the eye, they look unreadable, black cylinders of silence. And yet the words are still there. Not visible, but present. Like a thought you haven't had the energy to speak. Like a memory that remains true even when you don't replay it. In the archive drawer, there is a second set of images, modern hands, modern light, modern patience. A scroll rests in a cradle, surrounded by instruments that look almost medical. No one touches it directly, no one pulls, no one forces. The world has learned a softer way. This is one of the gentlest miracles of modern archaeology, reading without unrolling, seeing without tearing, listening without shouting. How? Tonight we keep it simple. We keep it like poetry. Imagine a kind of rain made of light, an invisible rain made of fine pulses. The pulses pass through the scroll, mapping its hidden layers like moonlight on a calm ocean. The scroll remains closed, and yet its inside becomes knowable. Letters that were trapped in darkness begin to show their shape again, not on the papyrus itself, but in a quiet reconstruction, an image of ink, a whisper of lines. It is called virtual unwrapping, and the name itself is soothing. virtual unwrapping, as if the modern world is finally learning to open things the way a careful friend opens a gift, slowly, respectfully, mindful of what might break. There is a moment I love to imagine, and it has almost no sound. A researcher watches a screen in a dim room. The room is calm, like the Black Room in Pompeii, designed for evening. The glow is soft, and on the screen, a faint curve becomes clearer, a stroke of ink, a bend of a letter, not a headline, not a shock, just the return of a human hand's intention. A line that once meant something to someone, returning to mean something again. If you let it, that moment can feel deeply human, because we all have parts of ourselves that are still written inside us, even when we cannot express them. The scroll reminds us, silence is not emptiness. Silence can be storage. Silence can be sleep. Here is a gentle question placed softly beside you. When you imagine letters returning after 2,000 years, what does it feel like? Quiet awe, comfort, or a tender sense of hope? You don't need to answer. You can simply let the feeling exist, the way you let a warm cup exist in your hands without analyzing it. The archive drawer includes a diagram, too. Layers of papyrus like thin pages stacked together. Each layer is a page. Each page is a breath. And the words are tucked between breaths, waiting. In our story, we step closer, not to the eruption, not to fear, but to the idea of a library that slept. Some people call it the Villa of the Papyri, a place where scrolls were kept together like a small forest of rolled-up thoughts. Imagine that, a room full of quiet cylinders, each one holding a voice. If you have ever saved a note on your phone, or tucked a letter into a drawer, or kept a book on your shelf for later, you already share this impulse. We want to preserve what matters. We want to keep something safe until we are ready. And that is what the mountain unintentionally did. It covered, it sealed, it made a cocoon of ash and time. Tonight, we don't have to picture the covering as violence, and we can picture it as a slow settling like silt in the abyss. We can picture it as a hush descending the way night hushes a city. But the scrolls went to sleep. And now, in our era, people are learning how to wake them without startling them. Not by ripping the blankets away, but by letting light seep in through the edges. It is a beautiful skill. Patience. A skill we rarely practice in modern life, where everything is now urgent, instant. But the scrolls ask for a different pace. They ask for care that spans months, years. They ask for minds willing to wait. If you are someone who feels behind on messages, behind on goals, behind on life, let the scrolls offer a gentle correction. Not everything valuable happens quickly. Some of the most meaningful returns take time. A letter takes time to travel. A seed takes time to sprout. A nervous system takes time to calm. And sleep, too, takes time. It cannot be commanded. It must be invited. So let this drawer become an invitation. Imagine your mind as a scroll tonight, closed, safe. Not meant to be forced open. Whatever is inside, you can stay inside for now. You don't have to process everything. You don't have to solve everything. You can simply be contained. If a thought knocks at the door, you can say gently, "Not tonight." Not because you are avoiding it, because you are protecting something tender. Inhale like a slow pulse of light. Exhale like a page settling back into place. Now, the story wants to braid one more thread. The cabinet's theme of hands, hands that shaped bone, hands that crossed a meadow where sea would return, hands that gardened beneath leaves, hands that lit lamps and lowered them, hands that sealed gold in lead, and now hands that read without touching. It is the same human impulse repeating through time, to handle the world carefully. If tonight's story is bringing you calm, you can leave a gentle comment for yourself. Just one word, like soft, steady, or patient. And if it reminded you of a memory, reading late, writing in a notebook, discovering an old letter, feel free to share it below. Your memory may become a quiet lantern for someone else. Here, no one rests alone. The drawer begins to close and the photographs of the scrolls slide back into shadow. But the feeling remains. Words can return even after long sleep. Meaning can reappear even when it seems sealed. Gentleness can be intelligent. And now I notice the next label waiting on the cabinet, written with a simplicity that feels like a deep breath. Olduvai, the thinking hand. We have visited Olduvai once with the bone tool, but the cabinet suggests we return not to repeat, but to deepen, like revisiting a familiar song at a slower tempo, because the story's final movements will gather all our places: earth, cave, meadow, forest, sea, lamplight, cocoon, scroll, into one soft reflection, not a sermon, not a lesson that demands effort, just a calm understanding that might help you sleep. The past is not running, it is waiting. So for now, let the scrolls keep sleeping inside you as an image. A black cylinder in a cradle. A rain of light that does not disturb. A letter appearing quietly, like dawn behind closed eyelids. Inhale and feel the spaciousness of time. Exhale and let your thoughts settle like ash, gentle and soft. We will open the next drawer soon, but not yet. Let the cabinet wait with you. Let the room stay warm. Let your body feel held. And if sleep is close, you can allow it to arrive the way words arrived on that screen. Slowly, patiently, without force. One more small image before we move on. Imagine a person in Herculaneum finishing their reading for the night. They roll the scroll closed, tie the cord, and set it back on the shelf. They don't know the future. They only know the feeling of a day ending and the comfort of putting words away until morning. If your mind keeps reopening the same worries, try this in imagination. Roll the thought up like a scroll, tie it with a soft cord, set it on a shelf in the archive, and return to your bed with empty hands. Breath in, soften, breath out. Let the shelf hold the rest. The drawer marked Olduvai, the thinking hand, feels familiar, as if my fingertips remember its edge. When I slide it open, the archive lamp falls onto the same pale curve we saw before, bone shaped by patience, smoothed by use, held in foam like a small moon that decided to sleep. But tonight, we don't open this drawer for novelty. We open it the way you open a window in a room you already love, just to let in a different kind of air. In the first visit, we let the bone tool be a fact, a gentle surprise. Hands long ago were already choosing materials, already making, already thinking. Now we let it be something else, a mirror, because if you listen closely, a tool is not only an object, it is a rhythm, it is a habit, it is a way of meeting the world. And meeting the world is what many tired minds forget how to do. After long days filled with screens and urgency and the feeling that everything is slightly out of reach. So tonight, the archive invites us back to Olduvai, to a place where time is layered like pages and where the simplest human gift, attention, was already blooming. Imagine the gorge at dusk. The land is wide, open, dusty in the warm light. Tall grasses ripple in the wind like the surface of a quiet sea. The sky is enormous, a soft bowl of color, gold near the horizon, deepening into violet as evening arrives. The air smells of dry earth and distant rain. And somewhere, close to a small water source, a group sits in a loose circle. They are not performing history, they are living. One person holds a piece of bone, not precious to them in the way museum objects are precious to us. It is simply a material with potential. It is something their hands can converse with. A stone rests nearby, used as a scraper. Another stone, heavier, used to press and shape. A shallow depression in the ground holds a few other objects, flakes, fragments, pieces that might become tools later, or might be discarded without drama. Nothing is wasted, but nothing is worshipped. The thinking hand does not need to be dramatic. It only needs to be steady. If you've ever done something with your hands that made your mind calmer, chopping vegetables, fixing a loose screw, folding a towel, drawing a line on paper, you already know this steadiness. You felt how the mind quiets when the hands have a gentle task. In Olduvai, the task is simple. Make an edge more useful. Make a surface smoother. Make a shape fit the need. The person turns the bone slowly, testing it with fingertips. They scrape, then pause, then scrape again. They notice. They adjust. Their shoulders are relaxed because they are not fighting the world. They are collaborating with it. And the sound of that collaboration is soft. Scrape, pause, scrape. It sounds like a lullaby for the nervous system. Here is a small invitation for you right now. If it feels comfortable, let your hands rest where they are, on your blanket, on your pillow, on your chest. Notice the temperature of your skin. Notice the weight of your fingers. Let them be heavy, as if they don't have to hold anything anymore. And as your hands rest, imagine the ancient hands working nearby, unhurried, confident in the slow pace of evening. If your mind wants to race forward, let it return to the simplest sensation, breath moving in and out like wind across grass. Inhale, the sky widens. Exhale, the body settles. In the archive drawer, there is also a small photograph of stone flakes from the gorge, thin, sharp, patterned by fracture. They are beautiful in a quiet way, like pieces of glass smoothed by a river. But I keep coming back to the bone. Because bone asks us to remember something tender. The tools of survival were also tools of care. Scraping a hide, preparing food, shaping something to make life easier. These are not just technical acts, they are acts of protection for a group. They are ways of saying we want each other to be okay. And that is the soft discovery hidden inside this drawer. Even at the beginning of our story, the human hand was not only clever, it was kind. That kindness doesn't look like grand speeches. It looks like small improvements repeated until the day becomes gentler for someone else. If you are exhausted tonight, consider this. Perhaps your own kindness has been happening in small ways you do not celebrate. A message you sent, a chore you did, so someone else didn't have to. A smile you gave while your mind was tired. These are also tools of living. The archive seems to agree because in the folder beside the artifacts, there is a simple phrase written by a curator. Where marks are stories. Where marks are stories. In other words, what changes us is evidence of what we've done, not proof that we've failed. If you carry wear marks, stress lines, tiredness, a heart that has been through heavy seasons, let this be a gentler interpretation. You have lived, you have endured, you have been used in the world, and you are still here. Olduvai's bone tool is worn because it worked, not because it broke. And in that there is a quiet comfort. Now the cabinet invites us to weave the drawers together. Because what we've been collecting is not only history, but a set of calming metaphors. From Atapuerca, we learned that a face can survive as a fragment and still be recognized. From the Aegean meadow, we learned that geography is liquid and change can be gentle. From the Amazon, we learned that a city can live inside a forest without tearing it. From the abyss, we learned that depth preserves and stillness is possible. From the Black Room, we learned that beauty can be designed for low light. From the lead cocoon, we learned that heaviness can protect fragility. From the scrolls, we learned that words can return without being forced. And now, from the thinking hand, we learn that the simplest human power is attention, steady, practical, compassionate. If you want, you can choose one of these as your anchor tonight. Here is a soft list, not to memorize, only to feel. The earth is a book. The sea can become grass, the forest can hold a garden. Depth preserves, low light reveals, heavy protects, closed can still contain meaning. Hands can think. If one of these phrases comforts you, hold it for a moment the way you hold a warm mug. And if you'd like to share, you can leave a gentle comment with the one that feels most soothing tonight. Your choice might help someone else settle their mind. Here, no one rests alone. In the Olduvai dusk, the group finishes their small tasks. The bone tool is set down. A child watches, learning without being taught in words. The wind continues. The stars begin to appear like quiet dots of reassurance. The scene is so calm that it almost feels like it could be any evening, anywhere, even now. Because the truth is, much of human life has always been this simple. Eat, drink, work a little, rest, watch the sky, hold each other's stories without needing to solve them. Modern life adds layers, emails, notifications, traffic, deadlines. But beneath those layers, the older rhythm still exists. Your body still knows it. That's why a slow breath helps. That's why darkness can feel safe. That's why a repetitive sound can lull you. These are ancient comforts, and perhaps that is the most healing twist of all. You are not asking your body to learn something new tonight. You are letting it remember something old. In the archive, I begin to close the drawer, but I pause because there is a final note tucked under the foam, almost like a secret message meant for late-night readers. It says, "Not the first, not the last, not the first, not the last. If you like, try a tiny ritual now. Imagine placing the bone tool back into its foam, then imagine placing your own thoughts back into their compartments. One thought in the first slot, another in the second, until the table is clear. Each time you set one down, let your exhale lengthen. You don't have to throw thoughts away, you only have to store them gently the way an archive stores what matters, and then let the cabinet close itself. The thinking hand was not the first intelligence on Earth, and it will not be the last, but it is ours, and it has left traces in bone and stone and soil. And those traces whisper a comfort to you right now. You belong to a long line of beings who learned, slowly, how to make life softer. So if you are tired, you are not failing. You are simply in a moment that calls for rest. The cabinet, patient as ever, shows me the next label waiting in the lamplight. Return. The archive closes. We are nearing the part of the story where the drawers begin to shut, one by one, and the room becomes smaller again, safer, quieter, like a nest. But before we go there, take one more breath with the thinking hand. Inhale. Feel the steady attention of your own fingertips, even if they are still. Exhale. Let the day's sharp edges become smooth, like bone worn gentle by use. If tonight's story brought you calm, leave a gentle comment for yourself. And don't forget to subscribe for more peaceful nighttime journeys. The past will be waiting for us again, whenever you need a quieter world. For now, let Olduvai's dusk fade into your pillow. Let the sky darken, let the stars stay. Let your thoughts become fewer, softer, like tools set down on earth. Sleep can arrive, the way ancient evenings arrived, without announcement, without pressure, simply because the light has lowered and the body knows what to do. After Olduvai's dusk fades, the archive returns, the way a shoreline returns after a dream, softly, without a hard edge. The lamp is still hanging above the table, steady and warm. Dust still drifts through its light like slow snow. The cabinet stands in the same place, its drawers closed now, as if it has been listening with us, patient and unbothered. If your body has begun to feel heavier, let that heaviness be welcome. Sleep is not something you chase, it's something you allow, the way you allow a room to become dark when you stop turning on lights. I rest my hands on the table and notice how quiet can have texture. There is the low murmur of a machine keeping the air dry. There is the faint creak of a building settling. There is the soft, distant sound of a city that doesn't know we're here. And inside that quiet there is a feeling that the past has been rearranging itself into something simpler. Not a list of discoveries, a handful of calm images, a cabinet of gentle anchors. If you like, we can linger with them one by one in the way you might touch beads on a string, slow, repeating, soothing. Earth as a book, a face in dust, a sea that was once grass, a forest that held a garden, a ship sleeping in the abyss, a room painted black for lamplight, a lead cocoon protecting gold, scrolls that returned without being forced, a hand that thought with patience. You don't have to keep them all. You can let most of them drift away, but sometimes for a tired mind, one image is enough. One small picture that says, "You are safe here." Tonight I choose the simplest one. A drawer closing, wood meeting wood, a soft click. Because a closing drawer is a boundary, and boundaries are comforting. They tell your nervous system, this is contained, this can wait. So, gently, we begin to close the night. Not like shutting down a machine, like folding a blanket. I imagine the archive worker, who could be you in another life, checking the labels one last time, making sure the foam is smooth, the sleeves are sealed, the cabinet is latched. The care is quiet. No one claps for it. And yet it matters. In our modern days, so much of what we do is visible. We post, we send, we respond, we prove we're still awake. The world rewards brightness and speed. But in this archive, there is a different kind of reward. The feeling of completion that doesn't require applause. The feeling of doing something well and then stopping. If you want, let your body mirror that. Let your shoulders settle a fraction lower. Let your jaw unclench, as if you've finally put down a tool. Let your tongue rest, as if it no longer needs to hold a thought in place. Now I'd like to offer you a small, soft discovery that isn't a fact from archaeology, but a fact from being human. Your mind doesn't need more information tonight, it needs permission. Permission to stop reviewing, permission to stop predicting, permission to stop rehearsing conversations and outcomes. The past we visited does not demand performance from you. It simply sits in drawers, content to wait. And it invites you to do the same, to wait, to rest, to let tomorrow arrive when it arrives. In the archive, I turn the lamp's knob slightly, lowering the light. Not much, just enough to change the mood. Shadows soften around the cabinet, and the room feels more like a nest. Sometimes when you lower a lamp, your mind lowers with it. Try that now. In imagination, picture an inner lamp behind your forehead. Turn it down one notch. Notice how the thoughts become less sharp at the edges. If they don't, that's okay. You are not failing. Thoughts often keep circling when they're trying to protect you. They think vigilance is love. They think planning is safety. So let's thank them gently. You can say without speaking, "Thank you for trying." Not tonight. Then let the thoughts sit on the shelf, like labeled boxes. Safe, waiting, not erased. Inhale and imagine the shelf becoming wider. Exhale and imagine the boxes becoming still. Here is a calm question, not meant to wake you, only to give your mind a softer direction. If you could store one worry in a drawer tonight, what would it be? You don't have to name it in detail. Just a category is enough. Work, health, family, money, the future, the the past. Now imagine writing that category on a small label. Imagine placing it on a drawer. Imagine closing the drawer with the gentlest click. No one is taking it away. It's not denial, it's simply storage. And storage is mercy. There is another kind of mercy in archives that people rarely mention, the softness of repetition. Every night, the same routines happen, lights are checked, temperatures are recorded, locks are turned, a clipboard is signed. These gestures are not glamorous, but they are soothing because they say the world can be cared for in small, consistent ways. Imagine a night guard walking slowly past the storage room door. Their footsteps are unhurried. A ring of keys rests against their belt, making the faintest chime like wind touching tiny bells. They pause, glance through the glass, see the lamp low, the cabinet closed, and they keep walking. Nothing urgent, nothing broken, just a building breathing in the dark. Outside the museum, the street is quiet. A traffic light changes from red to green, even if no cars are waiting. A few trees shift their branches in the breeze. Somewhere, rain might begin, light at first, then steadier, softening the city's edges. The sound of it is gentle, like fingers tapping slowly on a table, reminding you that you don't have to fill every silence. If you like, let that imagined rain become part of your room. Let it fall in the distance of your mind, far enough away that it can't bother you, close enough that it can comfort you. Each drop can be a tiny signal of letting go, release, release, release. And if your mind keeps trying to solve tomorrow, you can give it a simple job instead. Listen, not for danger, just for the quiet textures of night, the hum of the fan, the faint shift of fabric when you breathe, the small, ordinary miracle that your heart keeps its rhythm without asking your permission. Sometimes the deepest calm comes from trusting what is already working. In the archive, even the air feels organized. It moves slowly through filters, cleaned and cooled, as if someone is gently smoothing a sheet. And in that steadiness you can borrow a thought. Your breath is also organized. It comes, it goes. It doesn't need to be perfect. It only needs to continue quietly for you. The archive teaches that mercy is practical. It is foam cut to shape. It is sleeves that keep paper from moisture. It is a room designed for evening. Mercy is also a breath that is allowed to be slow. Inhale, like wind across the old Aegean plain. Exhale, like a tide returning, calm and inevitable. In the quiet, I think about the people behind all these artifacts, people who never imagined our world, yet lived with the same inner weather. They got tired, they worried, they hoped. They sat in lamplight and listened to the night outside. They fell asleep, and they did not need to earn it. If your mind tries to argue, if it says you must finish something first, solve something first, become someone calmer first, let the archive answer for you. The past didn't earn its rest by being perfect. It rested because time allowed it. You can rest because your body allows it. You can rest because rest is not a prize, it is a need. In the cabinet, there is one final drawer I haven't opened at all. It is unlabeled, or perhaps its label has worn away. Sometimes archives have these drawers of fragments that don't fit neat categories, items that are miscellaneous, unknown, to be identified. I love that, because it means even the archive admits not everything will be resolved. Some pieces remain unnamed, and life too is like that. There are questions you may never answer fully, there are feelings you can't sort into a single box. There are endings that don't close cleanly, but you can still sleep, you can still be held, you can still be okay. If that thought feels like a soft relief, let it settle in your chest like warm water. Now, as we prepare to move toward the final sections of the story, I want to bring you back to the beginning, the first promise we made in the archive. You don't have to go fast. History is never in a hurry, and neither is sleep. Sleep arrives in its own tide. Some nights it comes quickly. Some nights it comes slowly. Both are normal, both are human. Your job is not to force the tide, only to lie on the shore and let it happen. If you're still awake, that's okay. You are already doing the important thing. You are resting in the dark. You are giving your nervous system a quieter world. Even this is healing. And if you are drifting, let the words become softer, less distinct, like voices in another room. Before we close part 10, I'll leave you with one more gentle community whisper for anyone listening who feels alone. Here, no one rests alone. If you're awake with me, you're part of this quiet circle. Your presence adds warmth to the night. In the next part, we will close the cabinet fully, step away from the table, and let the archive room become smaller and darker until it fades into a simple image. A door half closed, a line of light under it, and the feeling that everything important can wait. For now, inhale, slowly, exhale, longer, and let the drawer of worry remain closed just for tonight. The cabinet is quiet now. All the drawers are shut, each one holding its small piece of time, the way the sea holds a pebble, without squeezing, without demanding, simply keeping it safe. I stand for a moment beside the table and let the archive's air settle around me. It is cool and dry, careful in the way a library is careful. The lamp above the desk hums faintly, and its warm circle of light looks smaller than before, as if the room has begun to fall asleep too. If you are still awake, you don't have to do anything with that awareness. Just notice it kindly. Awareness can be soft. It can be a feather on water. It does not have to become effort. In this room, the past has agreed to wait. And when something agrees to wait, your body often relaxes because waiting means there is no emergency. I reach for the cabinet's small latch and turn it gently. The sound is a quiet click, the kind that would be swallowed by any ordinary night. But here in the slow hush, it feels like a ceremony of safety. The latch means nothing will spill out, nothing will fall, nothing will demand your attention again until you choose. I like that, because so many modern things refuse to latch. Messages keep arriving, news keeps updating, thoughts keep refreshing like a page you didn't ask to reload. But tonight, we get to practice a different kind of design, the design of closure. Not final closure, just evening closure. If you want, imagine taking one last look at the cabinet as if it were a calm friend. Then imagine turning away from it without guilt. You are allowed to leave interesting things behind. You are allowed to stop mid-curiosity. History will not be offended. It has survived millennia. It can survive until tomorrow. I step away from the table, and the floorboards give a soft, patient creak. The sound doesn't startle. It belongs here, like an old house settling into itself. I move toward the door of the storage room, and as I approach, the lamp's light falls behind me, making my shadow long and gentle on the floor. At the door, I pause. There is something comforting about doors in the night. A door is a boundary. A door is an agreement. A door says, this side is for rest, that side is for whatever can wait. I lay my hand on the knob and feel its coolness. Metal is always cooler than skin, and the contrast is grounding. It reminds you that you are here in a body, not just in a mind. Inhale, feel the air enter. Exhale, feel the weight of your shoulders drop. Then I open the door, just enough. A thin corridor stretches outside, lit by small wall lamps spaced far apart. The light is dim and warm, like butter on dark bread. The hallway smells faintly of paper and polish. Somewhere, far away, an elevator makes a soft sigh, and then the building returns to stillness. I close the storage room door behind me until it almost meets the frame, leaving only a narrow line of light beneath it. That line of light is the last thing the archive gives us tonight. A simple image to carry towards sleep. A door half closed. A thin seam of warmth, a promise that the room is still there, holding what matters even when you are not inside it. If you want a gentle question, here is one you can answer without thinking too hard. What would it feel like if your mind could be a room behind a half-closed door, safe, private, and allowed to rest? You don't need to explain it. You can simply feel the answer as a soft shift in the chest, a loosening around the eyes. I begin to walk down the corridor. Each step is slow, not because I am tired, but because speed would feel rude in a building this quiet. The lamps cast small pools of light on the floor, and between them the hallway becomes shadowy, calm, like the spaces between breaths. Pool of light. Shadow. Pool of light. Shadow. It's a perfect rhythm for sleep. As I walk, my thoughts drift to the objects we visited, but they drift like leaves, not like hooks. The bone tool becomes a pale crescent, and then fades. The cave face becomes a curve in dust, then dissolves. The Aegean meadow becomes a wide green breath, then turns blue again. The forest becomes a canopy, then becomes a whisper. The ship becomes a quiet outline in deep water, then becomes a feeling of being held. The black room becomes lamplight on dark walls, then becomes the simple idea of lowering brightness. The lead cocoon becomes a weight of protection. The sleeping scrolls become the quiet return of words. And in the middle of all these images is one quiet thread. The past does not hurry. It waits. If you have been hurrying yourself tonight, hurrying yourself to fall asleep, to feel better, to fix your mood, let that thread wrap around you like a soft bandage. You don't have to hurry. Even sleep arrives best when it is not chased. Down the corridor, a corner turns and I follow it. The building feels like a labyrinth made of quiet but not a scary labyrinth, a gentle one. A maze designed to slow you down, to make you forget where the outside world is. At the end of the hall, a window looks out onto a dark street. The glass reflects the corridor's dim light, but beyond it, the night is deep and calm. A street lamp paints a circle on the pavement. A tree stands within that circle, its branches barely moving. The city seems to have lowered its own lamp. I stand by the window for a moment and let the outside world be far away. It's still there, yes. Tomorrow is still there, but it doesn't need you right now. If you are listening from a place where you can hear distant traffic, let that sound become like the sea. Cars moving over roads are like waves moving over sand, arriving, passing, leaving. You don't have to follow each one. You can let them blur into a single, steady hush. I turn away from the window and continue toward the building's exit. The corridor widens briefly into a small lobby, where the air feels slightly warmer. A bench sits against the wall. A potted plant rests in a corner, its leaves dark and still. Even the plant looks as if it is sleeping. At the front desk, a night guard sits with a book open beside a mug. The guard doesn't look up. In this story, no one interrupts. Everyone understands the rule of night. Be gentle. The guard's keys rest in a neat line, quiet and organized. The clock on the wall ticks softly, but the sound is not anxious. It is the sound of steady time, the kind you can trust. I step outside. The night air is cool and slightly damp. It touches the face like a clean cloth. The sky is dark, and the stars are faint in the city, but still present, like shy witnesses. A few blocks away, a late bus passes, its lights sliding across the street. The sound is brief, then gone, the world feels spacious again. And now, as our story begins to settle toward its final movement, I want to offer you a small reflection that is gentle enough to become sleep itself. You are allowed to be unfinished tonight. Just as some drawers in an archive remain unlabeled, some parts of your life can remain unresolved for a while. Your mind may not have answers. Your heart may not have closure. And still, you can rest. Rest is not the reward for solving everything. Rest is the soil in which solving becomes possible later. If this thought feels comforting, let it sink down deeper than words. Inhale. Let the night enter. Exhale. Let the day leave. And if you'd like to share something with this quiet community, you can leave a gentle comment for yourself. One word like safe, enough, or tomorrow. If tonight's story reminded you of a beautiful memory, walking at night, visiting a museum, reading by lamplight, feel free to share it below. Here, no one rests alone. And if your mind settles best when it follows a gentle routine, let the story guide you through one more quiet sequence, like the last steps from a living room to a bedroom. Imagine you are returning home from this place of drawers and lamplight. Your steps are slow on the sidewalk. The air carries a faint scent of rain on concrete. You reach a door, turn a key, and hear that soft sound of safety. The lock catching. Inside, the world becomes smaller. Shoes are set aside, a coat is hung. You do not need to do anything else perfectly, you only need to move toward comfort. In the bathroom, water runs for a moment, then stops. The silence afterward feels even deeper. In the bedroom, the bed is waiting like a calm shoreline. Sheets are cool at first, then warm where your body meets them. And if thoughts follow you in, let them sit at the edge of the room like quiet visitors. They can be present without speaking. You don't have to entertain them. Choose one gentle anchor for the rest of tonight. Earth as a book, depth as stillness, or lamplight on a dark wall, and let it hover behind your eyelids. With each exhale, let it grow blurrier, more dreamlike, until it becomes only a feeling. Held, safe, unhurried, softly. Now the street fades, the corridor fades, the cabinet fades. What remains is the simplest image of all, a door half closed with a line of warm light beneath it, and the feeling that everything important can wait until you are rested. The last part of a night is never loud. It doesn't arrive like an announcement. It arrives like a room cooling after a lamp is turned down, so gradually you only notice it when you realize you've stopped thinking in full sentences. So tonight, let this final section be like that, not a conclusion you must follow, just a gentle current carrying you towards sleep. The image of the archive door, half closed with a thin line of warm light beneath it, stays with us for a moment longer. It is such a small image, but it contains everything the night needs: boundary, warmth, permission. I imagine myself standing in that corridor again, looking back at the storage room door. Behind it, the cabinet waits. Inside it, the drawers hold bone and dust and meadow and forest and sea and lamplight. Nothing has to be solved. Everything is already stored. I turn away. And as I turn away, the corridor itself begins to soften. Lamps dimmer, shadows gentler, distance less important. The building becomes more dream than place. If you're still awake, you can let your eyes rest wherever they are. If your eyes are closed, you can let the words become less precise. You don't have to keep the thread, the story will keep it for you. In the quiet, a simple truth rises, the kind that feels more like a warm thought than a lesson. We are not the first people to need comfort. We are not the first people to carry worries into the dark. We are not the first people to search for a softer rhythm when the day has been too sharp. The bone tool in Olduvai rests because someone once put it down. The face rests because the earth held it. The meadow beneath the Aegean rests because the sea returned gently over it. The garden city rests because the forest agreed to grow back. The ship rests because the abyss became still. The black room rests because lamplight was kept low. The lead cocoon rests because heaviness protected fragility. The scrolls rest because ash sealed them without erasing them. Everything we visited tonight has one thing in common. It survived by being allowed to rest. And you, quietly, simply, can survive by being allowed to rest too. If your mind keeps reaching for tomorrow, bring it back with one small soothing sentence. Not tonight, not tonight. You can say it without anger. You can say it like a parent pulling a blanket up over a child's shoulder. Not tonight. Now let's return for a final time to the cabinet. In imagination, I step back into the storage room. The air is cooler here and the lamp is lower. The cabinet stands in its place like a calm witness. The latch is turned, the drawers are silent. I touch the cabinet once, not to open anything, but to acknowledge it. The way you acknowledge a shelf of old books in a room you love, the way you acknowledge the steady things in your life that don't ask for attention. Then I do something small. I switch off the lamp. The room does not become frightening, it becomes soft. Darkness in an archive is not the darkness of danger, it is the darkness of protection. Darkness that keeps colors from fading, paper from yellowing, fragile materials from being stressed. Darkness that says, sleep now, we will keep watch. And that is the final gift of tonight's story, the feeling that something is keeping watch, even if you are not. You don't have to keep watch over your life while you sleep. The world will keep moving. Your breath will keep coming. Your heart will keep its quiet work. Even your mind will keep doing its gentle housekeeping in dreams. You can let go. Inhale, slowly, like you are taking in a warm line of light under a door. Exhale, longer, like you're letting the door close completely. If a thought pops up, something you forgot, something you regret, something you must do, let it appear. Then let it slide away as if it were a small paper label falling from a drawer. It can be found later. It does not need you now. Here is one last soft discovery to carry into sleep. The past does not judge you for being tired. History is made of tired people. History is made of ordinary evenings. It is made of someone lowering a lamp, someone setting down a tool, someone closing a door, someone choosing rest, because the body asked for it. So if you feel worn tonight, you are not alone. And if you feel like you've been trying hard just to get through, that effort is seen even by the quiet objects we visited. Wear marks are stories, and your wear marks do not make you less worthy of rest. They are proof you have been living. Now I want to offer the final community warmth very gently, so it doesn't pull you out of the calm. If this story brought you comfort, don't forget to subscribe to Ancient Sleep Story for more peaceful nighttime journeys. And if you want to leave a comment, you can simply share where you're listening from tonight, or leave one gentle word for yourself. Your presence adds warmth to this quiet corner of the night. Here, no one rests alone. Now, we let the words thin out. Imagine the sounds around you becoming fewer. A distant hum, a soft fabric shift when you breathe, the quiet pulse in your fingertips. Let your body be heavy, let your face be soft. Let your breathing find its own pace. Inhale and feel the air arrive like a calm tide. Exhale and feel it leave like a tide, slipping back into the sea. If you like imagery, choose one of the 3 anchors we promised in the very beginning and let it replay slowly. Earth as a book. Water deep enough to hold stillness. Lamplight in a room designed for evening. Let the anchor blur. Let it become less picture and more feeling. A feeling of being held, a feeling of time widening, a feeling of nothing needing you right now. And if sleep comes, you don't have to notice it. Sleep will simply take your hand the way the night took the lamp's light. Quietly, gradually, kindly. The cabinet is closed, the door is shut, the line of light under it is gone, and the world, for a few hours, is allowed to be dark, not as a threat, as a shelter. Good night.